Good afternoon, everyone. The council will come to order. Madam Clerk, please take a quorum roll call.
All right. The quorum is now open. The quorum is now open. Please use your e-device. The quorum is now open. Michelle, is this right?
It's the same one. Check.
I will now call on those who have not used their e-device as a voice vote. Alderman LaSpada. Not in chambers. Alderman Hopkins. Not in chambers. Alderman Robinson. Alderman Robinson is present. Alderman Hall. Hall is present. Alderman Mitchell. Not present in chambers. Alderwoman Harris.
Here.
Oh, I will come back to you, Alderwoman Harris.
Okay.
Alderwoman Coleman. Coleman is present. Alderman Moore. Alderman Moore is present. Alderman Curtis. Alderman Curtis is present. Alderman Mosley. Or wait, I'll come back to you. Alderwoman Tabarras. Not present in chambers. Alderwoman Scott. Not present in chambers. Alderperson Fuentes. Fuentes is present. Alderman Villegas. Villegas is not present in chambers. Alderwoman Nugent. Oh, got you. Alderman Napolitano. Napolitano is present. Alderman Riley. Riley is present. Alderman Knudsen. Knudsen is present. Alderman Gardner. Gardner is present. Yes, Gardner is present. All right, your mayor, we have a quorum.
Very well, thank you, Madam Clerk. There are 39 members, 40 members that are present in chambers, so we do have a quorum. There are 5 alders that have requested to participate in today's meeting remotely. Reasons stated in Rule 59. Can we confirm their attendance online? Alders LaSpada, Harris, Mosley, Scott, and Taylor. Madam Clerk?
Alderman LaSpada, are you there?
Present.
LaSpada is present. Alderwoman Harris.
Here.
Harris is present. Alderwoman Taylor.
Here.
Alderwoman Taylor is present. Alderman Mosley.
Present.
Mosley is present. Alderman Scott.
Present.
Scott is present.
Very well. Can I get a motion to approve the remote participation? It's been moved. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any say nay. Depending on the chair, the ayes have it. Madam Clerk, please verbally confirm again. I'm sorry, you don't have to do that. Thank you for verbally confirming their participation. Please add them as present as part of the roll call. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could be so kind, please remain standing for the invocation, which will be delivered by Reverend Sophia Hahn from the First United Methodist Church of Chicago, Chicago Temple.
Let us take a moment to center ourselves in gratitude and hope. O source of wisdom and compassion, we pause at the beginning of this meeting to acknowledge the responsibilities we carry as stewards of our communities, our neighborhoods, and this great city of Chicago. We give thanks for the diversity that defines us, the many cultures, languages, faith, histories, and dreams that make our city vibrant and strong. We ask for guidance today, not only for clarity in decision-making, but for courage to lead with integrity and empathy. May our words be thoughtful, our hearts open, and our intentions rooted in service to the common good. Bless all who serve in this space, elected officials, civil servants, community advocates, and residents alike. May their work reflect the highest values of equity, dignity, and respect for all. We especially lift up those whose voices are too often unheard. May their needs be at the center of our deliberations. Let us bound together in community, and it is in that spirit of solidarity that we move forward. For all that has been and all that is to come, we offer our gratitude and our commitment. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated.
There may be a moment of silence for Lori Healy. I'm not sure how much. It was supposed to happen before the invocation, but
Portion of the meeting for public comments.
the council will now begin the public comment period, which is limited to a maximum of 30 minutes. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Speakers cannot yield or transfer their time to another speaker. Any written comments that have been submitted will be posted and made available for automatic review. The first speaker this afternoon is Lori Simmons.
Hello, my name is Lori Simmons, and I'm a 40th Ward resident here to comment on a proposed ordinance number 2023-1748, which would make significant changes to the regulation of Uber and Lyft. I have been a rideshare driver since 2014, and I've watched the industry change drastically in that time. When it first began, the companies were trying to lure workers in, and we earned $1.50 a mile. We kept 85% of our pay, and we were promised that this was going to be a good job. The rock-bottom pricing to customers, subsidized by $24 billion of investor money, a total lack of regulation, and an uneven playing field soon caused the cab industry to implode, but nobody cared while fares were cheap and drivers were being compensated. Fast forward 10 years, and the cost is often more than a cab ever was. Our pay dropped to 85 cents a mile, then 63 cents, and finally we lost our pay scale altogether and are now at the mercy of an opaque and interminable algorithm that determines both what I will earn and what my customer will pay. By the way, those two numbers are no longer related at all, and the company keeps more than half of passenger fares despite the high cost of vehicle ownership and maintenance, which we bear. As fares have soared in Chicago by 54% over the past 3 years, worker pay has been cut by just as much, and we have not seen a pay increase since 2018. On top of that, drivers are controversially classified as independent contractors, and so we're on the hook for a self-employment tax and are excluded from the protections that other workers enjoy. We also cannot set our own rates, build a customer base, or engage in rideshare outside of the app, which we could lose access to at any time for any reason or for no reason at all. Drivers are totally powerless, and the company controls everything while claiming drivers operate our own independent businesses so that they can continue to skirt their liability and responsibility to us. On July 1st, every worker in Chicago will see a pay increase through legislation. Every worker except those in the gig economy, many of whom are trapped in this industry due to health issues, accidents, and injuries. Thousands more have been robbed, carjacked, and murdered, including dozens of workers in Chicago. The companies refuse to do the bare minimum to keep us safe by providing a picture of our passenger or requiring basic identification before they enter our vehicle. The rideshare ordinance would make workers safer by requiring passengers to use their real name, improve passenger experience by making fares consistent and based in reality while providing a framework to hold the companies accountable to the citizens of this city. People who rely on rideshare know that the costs have sharply increased while the customer experience has suffered, but most have no idea that Uber and Lyft deactivate or fire thousands of us every year to replace us with drivers who will work for less. Then they claim a driver shortage so that they can further jack up the cost. Over 20,000 drivers have been deactivated in the last 3 years, and many of them don't even know why. As we advocated for ourselves over the past 5 years, we were told repeatedly that rideshare isn't a real job and that we should not expect to be paid decently despite the promises made to us when rideshare came to Chicago. Well, I'm here to say that I'm in real danger every time I drive. I provide a real and essential service to the people of this city, and I don't get paid in monopoly money. So this is a real job, and the companies have real obligations to drivers and citizens of Chicago who rely on these services. This ordinance must pass, and soon. There are drivers working today who are living out of their cars, and many more suffering housing, healthcare, and food.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Richard Juarez.
Good afternoon. I am a 66-year-old resident of the 13th Ward and a veteran. I am a full-time rideshare driver. I've given over 47,000 rides. We ask for full support for the fair share ordinance and workforce. Drivers deserve to be paid fairly for the service provided. Uber and Lyft wish to continue to use a very cryptic algorithm known only to them. They are overcharging the citizens of Chicago, subsidizing rides for others when they overcharge a rider. They do not provide any help with the driver's expenses. The burden of all expenses fall on the driver. They are not our employer. Employers offer an hourly wage. Uber and Lyft chose to identify drivers as independent contractors. The ordinance provides a framework for a clear structure for a fare. It helps eliminate cryptic manipulation of a fare. Their manipulation is focused solely on their own self-interest. Yes, Uber and Lyft are a business entitled to drive a profit. What about the micro business of the rideshare driver? The driver carries the burden of all expenses. We help businesses thrive. We help people get to their doctor's appointments. We help people get to their medical appointments when the scheduled medical transport fails to arrive. We help to reduce DUIs and save lives in doing this. Drivers deserve to be paid fairly and a living wage. Both companies have a dismissive attitude about safety. Uber stated very clearly, it is not our responsibility to reduce crime. No, they are responsible for creating the opportunity for the criminal activity. March 21st, the driver was attacked using Uber safety tools, a required PIN and the name of the account holder. The phone of the actual account holder had the phone stolen. Yes, Uber, your meaningless safety tool is responsible for this attack on this driver. False reports are filed for various illegitimate reasons. We are denied due process. Even with video proof, we are denied due process as we are not allowed to provide proof. We aren't even told the date or the week. Driving is how many drivers provide for their families. We ask for the City Council to have the courage to fully support the fair share ordinance and workforce, lives over corporate profits, living wage over fat corporate profits. Thank you for being a strong democratic city for the people of Chicago.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Danielle Carter.
First, let me thank Congress for inviting Chicago Flips Red to testify. And I want to thank them for allowing me to tell what's really happening in Chicago and negate all the lies that you told. Also, I want to thank, most importantly, the people's president, the real MVP, President Donald J. Trump, the president that listens to the people and who's for American. Now, so Brandon, remember the first time I came up on this mic, I told you, America, Illinois, and Chicago, that we were coming together because, see, we saw a common threat. Whites, black, Hispanics, Asian, we saw a common threat, which was the Democrat Party. I told you all, the same thing that was making y'all laugh in here was gonna make y'all cry. And as y'all stood here, your regular administration looked down on us. You didn't understand that our Father in heaven, he was hearing the cries of the people. And he was saving a remnant for such a time as this. A remnant with no fear in our hearts. And see, Chicago flips red, we're just getting started. As you sat there and y'all lined y'all pockets with our money. Y'all took our resources. You all invaded our communities in our city, in our state with illegal aliens. Let me tell you, Chicago flips red, we're just getting started. With our Savior, Jesus Christ, who walking in front of us, we will take back our city. We will take back our resources. We will be prosperous. Our citizens, we will be safe in our city. We will bring the businesses back to Chicago. We will stand for Chicago in America, in Illinois. And this goes for you too, Prisker. This goes for you too. All the citizens of America in Chicago, we are for America. So y'all anti-American agenda is going out the way. It's going out the door. Because you all, Satan, thought that God's people, that the evil that you all were doing to us, you thought that our Father wasn't listening, but he was saving us for such a time as this. And I'm telling you, right now, we're taking our city back. Everybody gonna feel safe. Everybody gonna be prosperous. Not just one, everybody, the whole Chicago. Chicago is going to flip red until our almighty God.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Joseph Negro.
Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Negro, a native Chicagoan living in the 41st Ward. As an Uber and Lyft driver, I see it becoming harder and harder to make ends meet. I believe the council should pass the Fair Share Ordinance currently in the Workforce Committee. When I started driving 10 years and 27,000 rides ago, we could actually make good money and a decent living as drivers. I was guaranteed 80% of the fare that the passengers paid. Today, with the greedy algorithms controlling every transaction, I'm lucky to walk away with 50%. I've even seen individual fares where passengers are charged 4 times what the driver is paid. The Fair Share Ordinance would eliminate these profiteering algorithms and rebalance the system in favor of Chicago's passengers and drivers, so passengers won't get gouged and drivers will be able to earn a living. Safety is another big problem. Just a couple of weeks ago, on March 21st, another driver was attacked. He did everything right. Uber gave him a passenger they claimed was verified. He checked their name and PIN code before giving them the ride. But then they tried to rob and carjack him. When that failed, they beat him with a gun, knocking out many of his teeth. It's a sad thing to say that for a driver, being lucky means not being shot and getting home to your family. He was left in pain, and to add insult to injury, he has $40,000 to $50,000 in dental work. Drivers also face unfair deactivations, being fired by an app and not allowed to work. We aren't given any meaningful information as to why, nor are we allowed to defend ourselves in order to continue to earn a living. As passengers and drivers, we know something is wrong with the current system. It is broken. However, this system has been intentionally built by these billion-dollar corporations. Over a decade of paying programmers to write millions of lines of code that exploit us on each transaction. Imagine where the city's finances would be today if the millions of dollars extracted from Chicagoans' pockets had actually stayed here. If that wealth had been spent here on groceries, on housing, on car maintenance, and all the other things that we need to live. Your constituents need you to stand up for us. This should be unanimous. We need you to look out for our interests, not to protect the billion-dollar corporations and their greedy algorithms. Pass the Fair Share Ordinance now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker this afternoon is Dennis White.
You remember me? Back in December, I presented an orange jumpsuit and told you what's going to happen. So now 2025 is not pretty much not a good year for you. You're not only the most incompetent mayor, you're the most progressive mayor, you're the most woke mayor in the city of Chicago. And now, what happened in Streeterville, when these teams take over, you defending them. Crime, you defending them. You took out the most effective tool, ShotSpotter, but you put more cameras over here and stuff. So where's the revenue going to go? Is it going to go to the deficit because of your math, or is it going to go to the illegals that you love so much? So here's the thing. What's going to happen is this. You are going to go to prison before you get elected out of office. You was over there in Congress sweating yourself to death. Didn't know how much that you gave to the illegal. $600 million that you put in their pockets at the time. You protect these illegal more than you protect the women of Chicago. You protect the illegals more than the blacks in Chicago. You protect the illegals more than the children who've been victimized and stuff of crime. You protect everybody except for the ones who voted for you. You even love CTU more than you love us. And to be honest with you, I'm confused. Either you're close friends with the devil or you're sleeping with the devil. I don't know. But here's the thing. When Trump is not going to give you this federal funding because of this sanctuary ordinance. And here's the thing. I call for every law-abiding citizen to arm themselves with guns because it's going to get warmer, it's going to get crazier. You're going to do nothing about it but talk about Trump. And I only got but 1 minute left. So here's the thing. If you don't let ICE do their job, we're going to do it for them. Because they're going to get deported one or two things. Bus or body bag. I'm not going to try to call for violence, but guess what? Peace when possible, violence when necessary. And now we're in a state of emergency with these illegals. We are in a state of emergency with the crime rate. We're in a state of emergency of these unnecessary taxes that the city council member are passing for your agenda to help CTU and these illegal. So 2025, we only got but what, 6 more months for 2026? You talk about running for mayor? How about if I run for mayor against you? That sounds like a good idea. I'm done.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Salvino Abuelo. Our next speaker is Zoe Lee.
I don't even talk to you no more. I have no respect for you. You're raggedy. Your administration is raggedy. Kennedy Bartley, I'm ashamed of you because you went to school with my sister, DePaul University, and I would think that you would have got this situation handled, but you have a raggedy boss. So that's how that works. At the end of the day, I'm calling on Donald Trump to come in and settle my case. Y'all aren't going to shut me down and keep violating the U.S. Constitution for people who that U.S. Constitution was not for. The U.S. Constitution is in English, so you already know, and you already know who it's for. The U.S. like the fact that you guys are going hard for the 14th Amendment, and that's the Freedman Amendment. That's my amendment. The Democratic Party is detrimental to America, and you, by far, have continued to let it just do whatever because you don't care, because you done stole so much money, right? And you done went down to Congress and lied under oath because you were just an idiot, and that's just what happened. That's just what happened. First Amendment, executive order, my president, okay? we're dealing with a agenda that's anti-American. And it's people who are in here that are fighting for countries that should not be fighting for countries. This is America. It's India. India is right in Bronzeville. The Indians, they're taking over Bronzeville. Taking over Bronzeville. Little Chinatown is Chinatown. Pilsen is Pilsen, but y'all, and then you're trying to put the Venezuelans in South Shore in them. You are literally trying to push Black America out, just like back in the day. You redlining. And you a Black man, and you always talk about Dusable. Stop bringing up Dusable name. You are a weak man. You are a traitor. And I'm asking for Donald Trump, because that's why I voted for him. I did it the Dick Gregory way. I protested outside. You ignored me. I asked you plenty of times. This was the worst customer service I've ever had in my life. That's why I looked at the Democratic Party. Y'all out here praising Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris owed the Democratic Party $20 million, but she at the Met Gala. Y'all are pathetic. I'm asking Donald Trump to come in and settle this case, and please bring in ICE, because we are under attack.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Salvino Abuelo. Your Honor, there are no further speakers who have
Thank you,
timely signed
Mr.
up for
Clerk.
the
That
public
concludes
comment
our
period.
public comments at this point. Before we move forward with the rest of our agenda today, I would like to take a moment of silence in memory of Miss Lori Healy, who, among many of the titles that she held, she was the former Chief of Staff under Richard M. Daley. So if we could, I would ask this body in this chamber for a moment of silence in memory of Miss Lori Healy. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Thank you. We do not have any resolutions today, so we will go right to our communications. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Communications from His Honor the Mayor to the Honorable the City Council of the City of Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, at the request of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of the Greater Chicago, I transmit here with an ordinance proposing a one-time fee waiver for MWRDGC's construction project at 111 East Erie Street. Your favorite consideration of this ordinance will be appreciated. Very truly yours, Brandon Johnson, Mayor. Referred to the Committee on Finance. Ladies and gentlemen, I've appointed Michael McMurray as the Commissioner of Aviation. Your favorite consideration of this appointment will be appreciated. Very truly yours, Brandon Johnson, Mayor. Referred to the Committee on Aviation. Ladies and gentlemen, I've appointed Francisco Velez as the Executive Director of the Office of Emergency Management and Communications. Your favorite consideration of this appointment will be appreciated. Very truly yours, Brandon Johnson, Mayor. For the Committee on Public Safety. I, City Clerk Anna Valencia, hereby inform the City Council that the following documents were filed in my office relating to the respective subjects designated as follows. Executive Order Number 2025-1, authorizing the Office of Budget and Management to conduct a comprehensive review of city-wide operations and programs. Determination Certificate of City of Chicago regarding revolving line of credit agreement by and among City of Chicago, RBC Capital Markets, LLC, and Royal Bank of Canada. As note of December 28, 2023, aggregate outstanding amount not to exceed $225 million. Civilian Office of Police Accountability Quarterly Report to period ended March 31st, 2025. Office of the Inspector General's Audit Report of Department of Human Services Employees Assistance Program. I, City Clerk Valencia, also informed the City Council that all those matters which were considered by the City Council at the regular meeting held on April 16th, 2025, which were required by statute to be published in book or pamphlet form or in one or more newspapers, were published in pamphlet form on May 7, 2025 by being printed in full text and printed pamphlet copies of the Journal Proceedings of the City Council of the City of Chicago. I, City Clerk Valencia, also transmit herewith the following miscellaneous communications and reports requiring City Council action. Zoning reclassifications of particular areas which are referred to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Claims against the City of Chicago which are referred to the Committee on Finance. Your Honor, that concludes the reports and communications from the Mayor and other City officers.
Very well. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have one committee report today. It's a joint committee, actually, on finance and housing and real estate. Chairpersons Dowell and Sigcho Lopez. The chair recognizes Chairman Sigcho Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the City Council. Reporting for your Joint Committee on Finance and Housing and Real Estate, which held a meeting this morning, Wednesday, May 7, 2025. The Joint Committee has a report recommending the passage of one municipal code amendment from the Department of Housing. That is Substitute Ordinance 2025-00155660, second substitute as amended, amendment of Municipal Code Chapter 2-44 by adding a new section, 2-44-170, establishing the non-for-profit Residential Investment Corporation to address housing needs by financing, acquiring, owning, and operating permanently affordable, mixed-income, and environmentally sustainable housing. I call for a roll call vote on this item following any debate on top of the debate that we already had this morning. So if anybody would like to speak on this, since we already got a debate, I move to have a roll call on this item.
Very well, thank you, Chairman. So there is a motion on the floor for the passage of this substitute. There's been a request for a roll call vote. Are there any individuals that wish to speak to this item? The chair recognizes Alderman Beal.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise in total opposition to this ordinance. Mr. President, people are saying the sky is falling and we need to hurry up and do something before the federal government comes in. But let me just tell y'all, the federal government didn't create the mess that we have right now. And so to continue to use the argument that the sky is falling because the federal government is an excuse for this body's inaction and the situation that we're in right now. One of the reasons I'm opposed to this ordinance is because we have a $1.3 minimum billion deficit coming down the pipe this fall. And we're creating jobs that are over $100,000. What sense does that make? That don't make good common sense that we're creating jobs when we have a deficit and we're going to have to be cutting jobs, cutting pay in order to meet our obligation come this fall. Now, some of y'all, this may be a great idea, but the timing of this great idea is not good because of the deficit that we're going to be staring down this fall, and we're adding to the deficit right now with this vote. Now, I don't know about y'all, but we're going to create another hurdle of a non-for-profit that is going to be charged with development and different things in our communities, a non-for-profit. Well, we have a Department of Housing that should be doing this. We also have CHA that's supposed to be providing housing. Why not partner with CHA, who has hundreds of thousands of vacant units, help them, partner with them to rehab their stock that they have already in their inventory? Now, I'm going to tell you, I got a 300-unit building. I've been trying to get new market tax credits from this administration for over a year and can't get it. 300 units if we want to talk about the housing shortage. I have a developer right now begging to get new market tax credits to get those 300 units online. But yet we're going to create another level of bureaucracy, creating jobs of people who are probably not going to be qualified to lead this non-for-profit anyway, because we didn't seen this movie before. I don't know about y'all, but this is a rerun of the movie we didn't seen before. So the same people making the argument, and I said this in committee, the same people making this argument that we need to pass this ordinance are the same people that said we need to bring home Chicago. But I tell you what, a big study just came out of LA. They are regretting passing Bring Home Chicago because it's having an adverse effect on the real estate market. So thank God the voters stood up, because this body show didn't. And we tried to tell you all that Bring Home Chicago was a bad idea. Now, LA is saying, oh, we might have to repeal it. So here we are again, trying to put something else in place that's unnecessary, when all we need to do is roll our sleeves up, partner with the people that's already in this city, partner with some of the developers that's here. Now, the problem that we have is we have drove up the cost of affordable housing units. $800,000, $900,000 for an affordable housing unit is ridiculous. You can build a mansion for $800,000. I can probably build 4 mansions in my ward for that amount of money. So that's our problem. So we're trying to create something to solve a problem that is not even there. We're not even using the tools in the toolbox that we have, but we're going to create some more tools just to say we created them. And we've had 3 committee meetings on this same item in the last month. So what's that tell y'all? We're in a hurry. We're in a hurry to get this done. Why? Why are we in a hurry? I just want to let you all know that we need to squash this ordinance. We don't need to pass this ordinance. We need to work with what we have already. We need to partner with CHA. We need to look at the housing stock that we already have in the city of Chicago. I'm not done, sir. I'm not done. Okay. So use the tools that we already have in our toolbox in order to get these things done and get the housing stock that we already have that's hurting our community. Vacant properties are already hurting our communities. So we don't need to create something and try to fix a problem that we already have the ability to fix right now. So think about it. Think about creating jobs that we're going to have to cut this fall. Okay? Think about it. We're going to have to cut hundreds, maybe thousands of jobs this fall. CPS is going to have to cut hundreds of jobs this summer with their budget, but yet we jumping up and down because, yes, we're doing something. What are you doing? Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. The chair recognizes, again, Chairman Sixto Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I will renew my the roll call vote motion.
Very well. Seeing no other hands, Madam Clerk, could you please help facilitate the roll call vote? Members, please use your e-vote application to record your vote at this time.
All right, the voting is now open. The voting is now open. Please use your e-device. The voting is now open. I will now call on those who have not voted using the e-device. Alderman LaSpada. Alderman LaSpada. Okay, I will come back. Alderwoman Harris.
Yes.
Alderwoman Harris is a yes.
Alderman LaSpada is a yes.
Alderman LaSpada is a yes. Alderman Curtis. Curtis is a no. Alderman O'Shea. O'Shea is a no. Alderwoman Taylor.
Yes.
Taylor is a yes. Alderman Mosley.
Yeah.
Mosley is a yes. Alderwoman Scott.
No.
Alderwoman Scott is a no. Alderman Riley. No. Riley is a no. Okay, everyone voted. The voting is now closed.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Voting is now closed. There are 30 yeas, 18 nays. This matter has passed. Alderman Mitchell on the motion to reconsider.
Mr. President, I move to reconsider
All
the
those
vote.
in favor of the reconsideration of this vote signify by saying aye. Any opposed say no. This motion fails. Chair recognizes Chairman Sixto Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to end by thanking Chairwoman Dowell, all the members of the City Council, the Department of Housing, the Administration for work in collaboration. It is not go without notice that we are in a crisis and our city is under attack, and we do need to develop solutions. We have a housing crisis that demands urgency in the City Council members. I'm glad that we were able to work together on this, and I look forward to hear other options in terms of housing. Today is a good day for the City of Chicago. This concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the agreed upon calendar on those matters, the Chair recognizes Chairwoman Dow.
Thank you, Mr. President. I received from the clerk, Anna Valencia, a total of 147 items proposed for the agreed calendar, consisting of congratulatory, commemorative, and tributary resolutions from Clerk Valencia and the following alderpersons: Alderman Hopkins, Alderman Robinson, Alderman Yancey, Alderman Hall, Alderman Lee, Alderman Lopez, Alderperson Coleman, Alderperson O'Shea, Alderman Rodriguez, Alderman Tabares, Alderman Conway, Alderman Villegas, Alderman Mitz, Alderman Nugent, Alderman Knudsen, and Alderman Gardner.
Very well. I'm hearing no objections for the passage of the agreed upon calendar in the omnibus. Thank you for that motion. Hearing no objections, so ordered. For new business, the clerk will begin with the first ward.
Zoning amendments which are referred to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Traffic regulations, traffic control signals, and traffic signs which are referred to the Committee on Pedestrian and Traffic Safety. An exemption from physical barrier requirements for commercial driveway alley access for parking facilities which are referred to the Committee on Transportation and Public Way. Alderperson Laspada has proposed ordinance for amendment of Municipal Code Chapter 17-13 regarding contents of Type 1 rezoning applications, which is referred to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Alderperson Hopkins has a proposed resolution to call for hearings on expanding Angel Shot training in Bassett Training Program for beverage alcohol sellers, which is referred to the Committee on License and Consumer Protection. Alderperson Robinson has a proposed ordinance for an honorary street designation as Honorary Reverend Dr. Leroy Sanders Way, which is referred to the Committee on Transportation and Public Way. Alderperson Robinson also has a proposed ordinance for establishment of parking meters at South Cottage Grove Avenue from East 47th Street to East 47th Place, which is referred to the Committee on Traffic and Public Safety, which is referred to the Committee on Pedestrian and Traffic Safety. Alderperson Quinn has proposed orders for the issuance of permits for signboards, which are referred to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Alderperson Quinn also has proposed ordinance for amendment of Municipal Code, Section 4-60-022 and 4-60-023 to disallow additional alcoholic liquor and packaged goods licenses on portions of West Archer Avenue, which is referred to the Committee on License and Consumer Protection. Alderperson Rodriguez has a proposed order for the issuance of permits for signboards at 3948 West 26th Street, which is referred to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Alderperson Sixto Lopez has proposed orders for the issuance of permits at various locations, which are referred to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Alderperson Burnett has proposed ordinances for the issuance of permits for signboards at various locations, which are referred to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Alderperson Burnett also has proposed ordinance for amendment of the annual appropriation ordinance to transfer funds within the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards for the year 2025, which is referred to the Committee on the Budget and Government Operations. Alderperson Irvin has a proposed order for the issuance of permits for signboards at 415 South Pulaski Road, which is referred to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Alderperson Telefiero has proposed orders for the issuance of permits for signboards at various locations, which are referred to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Alderperson Telefiero also has a proposed ordinance for amendment of the annual appropriation ordinance to transfer funds between the 29th Ward wage allowance and the aldermanic expense accounts for the year 2025, which is referred to the Committee on the Budget and Government Operations. Alderperson Cruz has a proposed ordinance for amendment of Municipal Code, Section 4-60-023, to disallow additional packaged goods licenses on portion of North Pulaski Road, which is referred to the Committee on License and Consumer Protection. Alderperson Cruz also has a proposed ordinance for amendment of the annual appropriation ordinance that transfer funds between the 30th Ward aldermanic expense and the wage allowance accounts for the year 2025, which is referred to the Committee on the Budget and Government Operations. Alderperson Wagaspack has a proposed order for the issuance of permits for signboards at various locations. At 2211 North Elston Avenue, which is referred to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Alderperson Conway has proposed orders for the issuance of permits for signboards at various locations. Alderperson Riley has the proposed ordinance for amendment of Municipal Code, Chapter 9-110, by modifying various sections regarding pedicabs and by adding a new Section 9-110-185, authorizing the Police Department and the Department of Streets and Sanitation to impound pedicabs, which is referred to the Committee on License and Consumer Protection. Alderperson Riley also has proposed orders for the issuance of permits for signboards at 405 North Wabash Avenue, which is referred to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Alderperson Gardner has proposed ordinance for amendment of the annual appropriation ordinance to transfer funds between the 45th Ward wage allowance and the aldermanic expense accounts for the year 2025, which is referred to the Committee on the Budget and Government Operations. Alderperson Gardner has a proposed ordinance for the installation of parking meters at 3925 through 3945 North Milwaukee and the removal of parking meters at 4022 through 4032 North Cicero, which is referred to the Committee on Pedestrian and Traffic Safety. Alderperson Manaha Hoppenworth has proposed ordinance for amendment of Municipal Code, Section 4-60-022, to allow additional alcoholic liquor licenses on portion of North Sheridan Road, which is referred to the Committee on License and Consumer Protection. Alderperson Silverstein has proposed orders for the issuance of permits for signboards at various locations, which are referred to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Your Honor, that concludes the introduction of aldermanic matters.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. For the approval of the journal, the chair recognizes Alderman Mitchell.
Mr. President, I'm not aware of any corrections to the journal from the April 16, 2025 meeting and move that it be approved.
Very well. Hearing no objections, then, so order for unfinished business. Chair recognizes Alderman Mitchell.
I'm not aware of any unfinished business.
Very well. For miscellaneous business, Alderman Mitchell.
Except for the ordinance setting the date and time of the next meeting, I'm not aware of any miscellaneous business.
Very well. For the date and time of the next meeting, Alderman Mitchell.
I've handed up an ordinance to the clerk setting the date and time of the next meeting.
Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance, please.
Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Chicago, Section 1, the next regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Chicago shall be held on Wednesday, May 21st, 2025, beginning at 10 a.m. in council chambers on the second floor in City Hall, 121 North LaSalle Street, Chicago, Illinois. Section 2, this ordinance shall take an effect and be enforced from after its passage. Gregory Mitchell, Alderman, 7th Ward.
Very well. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Alderman Mitchell.
Mr. President, I move passes in the omnibus.
Hearing no objections, so order for the omnibus. Alderman Mitchell.
I move that matters in the omnibus be passed by a voice vote.
Very well. That move for consideration. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody who oppose, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The omnibus is passed. Alderman Mitchell.
Mr. President, I move to reconsider the vote.
The reconsideration of this vote signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say no. The motion fails. Alderman Mitchell for the motion to adjourn.
There being no further business before this body, I move that we adjourn.
Hearing no objections, so ordered. This meeting is adjourned.